Welcome to Empower Your Pattern with President James Hendrick. Member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Success, Confidence, and Thrive Coach, and Adversity Educator. He'll teach you the patterns of how to enjoy a better and extraordinary life right now, along with ways to cope with the adversities of everyday life. So if you come with us, we'll be ready. Let's fly. Yeehaw! Welcome, Pattern Realm, to Pattern Park Place. We'll be here for a little while. This is called our Open for Business section, where business once again meets spiritual. And, of course, our first topic is how to avoid thinking negatively. Over to you, Ray Higdon.
I got a message from one of our rank makers this morning, and he was saying, he goes, "Ray, man, I'm doing the work. I'm showing up. I'm talking to people every single day. My work ethic is through the roof. I'm disciplined. I do it every day, but I'm not getting results. And I know, and this is someone who's been on many of my lives. He may be on this one. And he said, you keep telling me that it's my perspective and it's my mindset. And you know what? You're right. I will go and I'll go do this activity. And then I find myself thinking negatively. And it's like, no matter what I do, I find myself thinking negatively, and then and this happens all the time. Okay. So first, I want to share a model that I learned from Dr. Joe, and that is, and I know my Instagram peeps, you're probably not going to be able to read what I write, so I'm going to try to keep it really simple. Okay. But your thoughts, let me change this a little bit. But this is something I learned from Dr. Joe. Your thoughts lead to your choices, lead to your behaviors, lead to your experiences, lead to your emotions. And then these emotions go back and re-influence your thoughts. Okay? So your thoughts, what you're thinking up here, your thoughts lead to what choices you see in life. So if you think no one's buying in this market, everyone's sad face about inflation, then your choices will narrow, and you'll show up in a manner of someone who plays small, of someone who is pessimistic, of someone who just doesn't see possibility. So you'll get invited, right? So right now, like if I invited you to Rankmakers Live, right? Rankmakerslive.com. But if you think that you suck, or the market sucks, or everything sucks, then you won't get a ticket. You just won't, because you'll be like, why bother? Why bother? Now, I've learned that there are two hacks to pinpointing your thoughts that are screwing you over. And one of them is, why bother? And the other one is, I could never. There's a few others that I've identified, but if you want to know with certainty if your thoughts are keeping you small, then just notice anytime you say, why bother, or I could never. Those two things are keeping you in this little safe box that you're not reaching your potential. Fact, I'm telling you, okay? And so, again, just to re-go through this, your thoughts create your choices. If you're someone that believes the floodgates of abundance are upon you, if you believe that prosperity is your birthright, if you believe that God wants you to be abundant and prosperous, then your choices are greater. You will see things differently. You will see old things in new ways. You'll see choices you never saw before. You'll have thoughts and like, you know what, I should reach out to my buddy Tony. Tony knows a lot of people, right? All of a sudden you'll have these different thoughts. You'll see different choices, okay? But if you're negative, you're going to have a limiting of view, a limiting of choices, which by definition limits your behaviors or your actions, okay? What do you do? Well, you can only do what you see as a choice, right? You can't do something that you don't see as a choice. Does that make sense? And so your choices are dictating what actions and behaviors you can possibly take. Now, you may still not take them. You may see the choice and be like, I don't want to, right? Maybe. But you're definitely not going to take an action that you don't see first as a choice. And those choices are dictated by your thoughts, right? So the thoughts go to the choices, lead to the behaviors action. That should all make sense. There should be no debate over that, all right? Which leads to your experiences. I do this thing. I do this thing, or I have this, I have this experience. I mean, there's no other way to really say it there, right? I have this experience. The experience of doing a thing, the experience of not doing a thing. And the end result of an experience is an emotion. Now, this is all Dr. Joe, just so you're aware, right? This isn't my stuff. This is just me. I learned from him. And so the end result of an experience is an emotion. And that emotion reinforces the thought. Okay? So the issue, there's two different types of people that are definitely stuck, and they're really the same person. Just one is slightly more aware, but not by much. Okay? So two types of people. Here's my beautiful drawings. Okay? So this one, let's just call them Unaware Sally. Just Unaware Sally. Now, Unaware Sally, left to her own devices, actually has no idea that she's negative thinking. She just kind of rolls around, right? She notices the traffic. Right? She spills coffee on her white shirt. Right? Unaware Sally has literally no idea that she's constantly negative. Unaware Sally has no chance of changing any of this. She's going to be the same. Her life will not change because she will not change. You're unable to change without awareness. If you're not aware, right now, everyone around Unaware Sally knows she's negative. Right? Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Hey, Sally. Hey, girl. Hey, how was traffic this morning? Oh, the 405. Right? Unaware Sally has no clue that she is negative thinking literally all the time. No idea. And you know people in your life that are like this. You know people that they're just drama, right? You're like, man, they're always drama. Well, for those people that are always drama, they're chemically addicted to that emotion. That's a chemical thing. An emotion is a chemical reaction in the body. And you can become addicted to that. Okay? So why would someone get addicted to drama? Why would someone get addicted to negativity? Because that's the only time they feel alive. They don't know how to feel joy. They don't know fulfillment. That's foreign language to them. What do you mean? If they find a $20 bill on the ground, they'll pick it up, right? They'll pick it up and be like, oh, cool. They'll put it in their pocket, and within 14 seconds, they've forgotten that something fortunate happened to them. But boy, when they stub their toe, boy, when they spill that coffee, boy, when they have someone honk at them, boy, when someone's sitting at a green light and they're behind them, right? See, that'll stay with them a lot longer. That made them feel alive. This was just like, oh, I was okay, right? So nothing gets spiked out of positive thoughts, out of positive experiences, positive emotions. Nothing gets spiked. Fleeting. No appreciation. That's a good comment. No gratitude, right? In fact, they may even say, well, it's about time I found something. I mean, I've been losing all this money and inflation. About time I got a break. They'll actually make it somehow negative. Somehow they will make it negative because that's just their vibration, baby. That's just how they roll. So let's go to slightly more aware Sam. Okay, so unaware Sally literally has no chance. She's just tumbling through space, and because she's such a negative thinker and has negative limited choices, just constant negative shitstorm. Every relationship she has is the same as the one before. Every neighbor she has is the same as the one before. She'll have a neighbor, and it's like, damn neighbor was up all night with their rowdy music, right? And so they'll move. And you're like, unaware Sally, like, how's your new neighborhood? Oh, it's wonderful. It's fantastic. It's so much better than the last losers. But just wait. Give it a week, 2 weeks. By a month, they're the same neighbors as the last place. Because unaware Sally doesn't understand that the only constant is her. Wherever she goes, there she is. And so it's not the waiter, it's not the waitress, it's not the neighbor, it's not the spouse, it's not the boyfriend. It's her creating this. And with these thoughts, we'll always verify what we believe to be true. You may want to write that one down. You'll always verify what you believe to be true. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because both are verifying what they believe to be true. I have so many friends that have created unbelievable incomes over these last couple of years, but you just wouldn't know that, right? You wouldn't know that because there's so much doom and gloom out there. There's so much doom and gloom out there that everyone thinks that everybody's struggling. Well, no, really just the people that tune into the news and the people that are unaware, okay? So let's go to slightly more aware Sam. So slightly more aware Sam has attended something like this. They've attended a Joe Dispenza retreat. They've listened to Eckhart Tolle. They've listened to Neville Goddard, and they know that their thoughts have something to do with their destiny. Their thoughts have something to do with their life, and so they're slightly more aware. And they're like, you know what? Negative thoughts bad, right? So at least they have that. At least they have that. They know they should at least inspect their thoughts. They should at least take a second and be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm thinking negative again. But the reason they're not aware, they're only slightly more aware, is they only notice their negative thoughts. They don't change them. So they notice that they're thinking bad, and guess what they do? This is a trick. This is a trick of the body. This is a trick of the mind. Guess what they do? So slightly more aware Sam becomes aware, like, oh, I'm thinking negative again, man. Guess what they do? They beat themselves up. And they think that's awareness. They beat themselves up. So they tell themselves that they'll never learn this stuff. They tell themselves that they just aren't built for this. They tell themselves that, they just can't be positive. They tell themselves that they're an idiot. They tell themselves all this stuff that keeps them in the same level of thinking, just different thoughts, still negative. As long as your thoughts are negative about your environment, what's outside of you, or about you, it's not enough. Slightly more aware Sam may stop blaming their environment, which is evolution. Like, hey, all right, you're getting with the program, babies. But they miss a step. The key is to not beat up the environment or yourself. Stop beating yourself up. No one benefits from that. And I know that, there's this martyr complex. Hey, let me tell you, I've had this. I've had the martyr complex. The martyr complex is where you have to show how hard you're working, and you have to show that you're, I'm working so hard over here, right? You have to show that I'm not getting joy from these things. I'm going to tell you a deep thing here. This will mess with some of you. I used to have guilt over how much I worked in relation to wanting to spend time with the family. Can anyone relate with that? Can any guys relate with that? I know all the ladies do, right? I know all the ladies do. At least I believe they do, most of them. So I used to have guilt around how much I worked and how much time I spent with family. Does anyone resonate with that? Does that make any sense? Just me. Okay. Here's what I would do, and I only recently realized this. This is what I would do. I would go to Jess, and I would think, and then I wasn't even aware that I was doing this, but when I really inspected these thoughts, I caught it. Which we'll come back to. And so I would go to Jess and be like, oh, yeah, man. I got so many meetings today, and oh man, these meetings, some of these are, oh man, they're tough, and oh man, I got to do this live. I got 2 lives to do, and now, so what was I doing? I was showing up in a way. I didn't want her to think I'm over here having a blast. I'm over here having fun, right? Because then that wouldn't be cool. That wouldn't be ethical for me to be having fun and sacrificing family time. Okay? But here's what you got to realize. And I've had to realize this many times. A good woman will challenge you to be the greatest version of yourself. And a lot of unaware guys.
All right. I wanted to see this whole video through fruition. However, for the balance of the time, which is about maybe a little more than 24 minutes, I want to kind of clear some things up, if you know what I mean. Because I love his model. But I want to employ my own model to this. And that is this. The CAP method. Okay? Yes, your thoughts are determined by your choices. But listen. The CAP method is more cyclical. Just like, in my faith, we believe in what's known as the pride-humility cycle. Okay, and it's the same thing with negative thinking. Your choices determine your actions, and your actions determine how you wish to pursue happiness. And I'm going to use some examples of my own. Let's start with unaware Trevor. He spills some soda. He wakes up, he spills some soda on his white shirt. Oh no. Complains about it all the time. People are going to be mad at me. People are going to hate me. Oh no. And people, they see somebody like that from a long while away. Hey Trev, how's it going, buddy? How was the traffic this morning? I swear it was a freaking nightmare. You can see the negativity a mile away. And here's another thing. Drama. Rule number 4. Drama is out. Peace is in. Drama is fuel from negative thinking. And some people, like say unaware Trevor, they're like, they're like, drama is my high-octane fuel. It takes me higher. In their unawareness and their idiocy, they think that's what's going to help them. They think that's the one that's going to help them reach for the big brass ring, not knowing that it's going to knock it out of their reach. Okay, say unaware Trevor moves to a near neighborhood. And, hey, Trev, how's the new neighborhood? Oh, it's better than where I lived with last time, that little class of mindless losers. But I give it 2 weeks. And what's Trevor going to be saying about the neighborhood? Here we go again. Once again, I'm living among mindless losers. When what Trevor needs to do is look at himself. He needs to look at himself. Because the negative thinking begins with us, okay? It begins with us. Trevor made a choice to get upset and bent out of shape just because he spilled a soda on his shirt. He chose to get all upset and bent out of shape because traffic on I-20 was terrible. Okay? He moves to a neighborhood thinking that's going to solve his problem. But then once again, he's referring to those people as mindless losers. And it don't work that way. Drama's out, peace is in. Drama is one of the things that fuels negative thinking. And I don't want no part of it. Now, okay. You might be thinking, well, Jimmy, where are you going with this one? We're going to go one more notch. One more person. Maybe 2 more people. Slightly more well-aware Megan. Okay, say she's a member of ACN. She's gone to an Elevate meeting or two, event or two. She listens to Presley Swaggerty or Patrick Mazer, or maybe she's listening to my podcast. Who knows? And she's slightly aware that, hey, I got to challenge the negative thinking. But there's a problem. Megan has this one problem. Martyr complex. Oh, but I really think I work too much, so I don't spend time enough with my husband and the kids. And my husband's going to end up hating me. Once again, slightly more aware Megan does not challenge her negative thoughts, which comes from negative choices. Her actions remain the same, and in many ways, she don't know how to pursue real happiness. She knows she's got the tools, but slightly more aware Megan will not use them. Will not use them. The martyr complex. Let me tell you something. I lived with the martyr complex in my life for a little over 24 years. For blaming myself for my last marriage. And to be honest with you, in conventional society, most people they blame their ex-spouse for their misfortune. And yes, I fell in that trap. But then, if that wasn't enough, once I felt like I'd gotten over that part, I start blaming myself. And of course, when my father died this past February, I was talking to him before about how I felt. He's like, you know what, I don't want to take that away from you. Because that's not your responsibility anymore. What happened, happened. I mean, what is, it is. Just move on. Now, we have what's known is much aware Adam. Okay? He goes to elevate. He follows influencers like Presley Swaggerty, Tony and Mike Kupis, and all of them. And he's like, okay, I got to be more conscious in whipping this negative thinking. I got to be more conscious in this. And so he's working on it daily. He's doing the activities where he feels like it or not. Adam, he still devotes his time to his family and faith, but he's being industrious. See, and this is where it's different in my faith than a lot of other Christian faiths, in that we believe in what's known as balance. We retain Christ always with us in our hearts, but we know we're called to be industrious, right? It's like me, I've been putting off things long enough because of the negative things. Oh, woe is me. I'm such a loser, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like that martyr complex. I would say about maybe a few months after Heavenly Father took that away, the enemy was trying to bring it back, and I was discussing it with, the new love of my life, and I mentioned her name for the sake of business protocol. Not going to use her name on this one out of respect. Business is business. But she noticed that I was heading there, and she shut it off. She said, hey, forget it. And I thought to myself, okay, so we're heading somewhere. I have someone that loves me the way I am, but at the same time, she ain't going to leave me that way. So here's the thing, it's the choices. Okay? Unaware Trevor, he's choosing to live in constant negativity. And he's acting out in drama. There's no pursuit of happiness. Okay? Now, check this out. Slightly more aware, Megan, she knows to choose positivity and to live it out, but her choices are divided. And her actions are divided. And the problem is, like Unaware Trevor, same universe, she will not allow herself to use the tools to pursue happiness. Now let's use very aware Adam. He intentionally chooses a positive, peace, all that stuff. And to be honest with you, people who are news junkies, and don't get me wrong, I got my own political podcast. But I have to tell you this. People who consume it all day, every day, they're looking for something bad. Something to get upset about all the time. Because that's all the news media is. Spin. Reactive culture. my political podcast, I do my best to try to rise myself above the news. And I'm not going to promote the political podcast on this particular podcast because Pattern Realm is an apolitical kingdom where everybody's welcome. It's a mastermind. It's a movement. And listen, so let's look at the actions of these three people. Unaware Trevor. Unaware Trevor acts out his negativity. He acts on his drama-fueled life. And nothing changes for the better. Because he chose to be negative. And the pursuit of happiness, seriously, the pursuit of happiness, out the window, not going to happen. And you're like, man, Jimmy, what the heck? Why? What are we doing this for? I don't understand. It's because Trevor is unaware. Okay? Now, let's go to slightly more aware Megan. She's been to events. She knows not to think negative. But her choices are divided. One week she's like, "Oh, I'm awesome, Megan. I nailed it. I'm crushing it. I'm wonderful. I'm a good wife. I do this, I do that." The next week it's like, "Oh, I'm horrible. My husband's angry at me and hates me. My kids don't want to have anything to do with me. My life is over." So like I said, it's cyclical. Slightly more aware Megan, her choices are divided. Her actions are divided. So therefore, pursuit of happiness, out the window. And I'm sorry to say that. Now, let's go with more aware Adam. He makes choices to be intentional. To be positive and to be intentional. And that's what we're called to be, is to be intentional. Or which you say, "Oh, but this is terrible and that is terrible." You know what? I've fallen in that too. This is terrible and that is terrible. But, last night I had my business partner say, "Yeah, I know, but Jimmy, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about that? You can use some of the inheritance money to help grow your business." So see, there's an opening, see? So which would you rather have? Seriously. You can listen to me on Empower Your Pattern. And, you can accept some of the teachings I have. But unless we apply our choices, our actions, and how we pursue happiness daily, it's not going to get you anywhere. Sorry, it's like bye-bye. Not going to happen. So long. See ya. And why is that? Unaware Trevor? He uses social media to spread his negativity. And I know a lot of motivational speakers say, well, social media only inflates the good. No. I'm also very aware that it inflates the bad. And I'm not the only one that says that. But we used in my church say that. My uncle on my mom's side, the same age as I am, he believes the same thing too. That the majority of crap that's on social media is negative and avoid it like the plague. And why is that? And this goes along with the principle he's been teaching me the past 10 years, okay? And listen to me, okay? Plain truth time. It's one of those let's meet in the study moments. Listen to me in the next 6.5 minutes. I'm trying to tell you this. Negative breeds negative, and positive breeds positive. Check out your choices coming from your thoughts. Check out your actions. Seriously. Be intentional. Be careful. Don't walk around like unaware Trevor with a chip on his shoulder. Everybody sees him coming. And it's, oh my God, everything is so awful. Hey, did you see that? That's terrible. If you can't see it, it's terrible, then we got a problem. And unaware, slightly more aware, Sally, so, oh, I'm crushing it. I'm nailing it. And the next thing you know, I'm terrible. You're terrible. Then we get to see divided choices. Negative breeds negative, and positive breeds positive. It's like what Presley Swaggerty and Randy Hedge say. You have to be consistent. Okay? Stick and stay and make it pay. Alright? Listen to me. I can't stress this more enough. How important this is. You stick and you stay and you make it pay that way. You have no choice. Otherwise, how else are you going to be able to succeed? You can't look at yourself and, 1 minute, oh my God, I crushed it. I nailed it. I'm wonderful. I'm amazing. I've got a rocket in my company. But on the other hand, you're like, oh my God, I'm horrible. I'm terrible, and everything around me is terrible, and I hate this life. And blah, 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 blah. Come on, seriously, you cannot have sweet and bitter coming out of the same fountain, because nobody's going to want it. Now, that being said, in my faith, we do have to sometimes take the bitter to know the sweet. But the fact of the matter is, we all have a choice. Every time I get down, oh, things are terrible, blah, 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 blah. There's lots of times I have to tell myself, and it's a good thing I've talked to people about this. It reminds me to tell myself, hey, Jimmy, wake up. You have a choice. You can stay in the same negative, crappy state, or you can choose to be happy. Which is it going to be? Unaware Trevor wakes up in the morning, has breakfast with his wife and family. He's griping out his wife, griping out the kids, everything terrible, and I just need to just lather it up with the drama and everything. Everything is beautiful and wonderful. And he goes about his day. And unaware Trevor is miserable. He's too busy dying. Slightly aware Sally. And slightly aware Megan. Hey, good morning. It's a beautiful day. It's an awesome day. I killed it yesterday. I killed it last night in my presentations. I'm awesome and everything. And then she sees something on the news. Oh my gosh, did you hear what happened at the convention last night? Did you hear what so-and-so said? And she's yelling at her daughter, oh, shut up, I don't want to hear that. It's all over the place. And guess what? Her day is miserable because she chose negative. She's acting negative. She's living negative. Oh, it's horrible. You can't pursue happiness that way. You can't pursue happiness that way. How can you expect to do that? How can you expect to grow a business, grow an empire, build an empire if if you have any one of these two personalities, you need to open your eyes and be aware. Open your eyes and be aware. Remember what I say at the end of every episode. Choose, act, and pursue happiness. You can't have one without the other. But those three are intricate. They're intricate. Excuse me. Tongue-tied. They're hand in hand. Okay? And we're going to talk about this a little bit more. And especially tomorrow, the business arm of my movement a little bit more. We're going to still hear a little bit more from Ray Higdon. And then there we go. There we go. You're learning a lot from me. And Ray Higdon on how to overcome negative thinking. And a lot of my stuff really is from the CAP method, ironically, came from the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I'm grateful for that. I really am. And I'm grateful for my audience. I love each and every one of you and coming to talk to you almost every day. I'm going to be ready for that. I hope you enjoy listening to Empower Your Pattern. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the Pattern Realm. Until next time, don't sit there and take it. I want you to go out there and build your dreams so you can take it. And do what others don't so you can be what others won't. And do what others won't so you can have what others can't. Please share this with Mamacito, Papacito, and everybody. This is Jimi Hendrix saying until next time, choose, act, and pursue happiness. God bless you. Remember this, from the bottom of my heart, Jimmy loves you. I really, really, really love you. God bless you, and please have a blessed day.